Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back or welcome to episode 25 of the Tait Talks podcast. If you're just tuning in, this is a podcast where I talk to interesting people about their careers or their adventures in life. A little bit for the people who have listened to the podcast and are returning listeners. I have actually moved to Western Australia, so I am officially out of my mum's house. There's no more podcasts in her shed. I am doing podcasts pretty much from my mate's couch now. So that's my life, is getting better and better. Today I am talking to Todd Eldridge. He is a world traveller. He's been in a lot of places. Today we're going to focus on his journeys through Europe, multiple trips he has done. Toddy, welcome to the show, mate.
Tait, how are you, mate? Good to be here.
Yeah, we've talked about this for about 4 weeks now, and we've finally decided to sit down and record an episode with your good self.
Yep, let's do it.
All right, Todd. We met in Canada in 2018. You had done a lot of traveling before that in a short amount of time. You started, I believe, first with a trip to Europe with a few mates. Let's take us through the first trip. How did a boy from Mount Gambier, South Australia, end up in Europe with his buddies?
Right, first trip. So we're going back to 2015 here.
Yep.
I remember sitting at home, maybe it must have been about mid-2014.
Yeah,
Always watching these Tomorrowland promo videos, like, got to go do that one day, got to go do that. But you know what it's like.
Yeah,
you just sort of chat about it and it never happens.
Yep.
And I remember my mate, Kanzi, coming home one day and he's like, right, boys, like, let's actually book this trip. It was going to be running with the Bulls, Tomorrowland, Yacht Week.
Yep.
So pretty well there, and then we just go straight down to the travel agent and book this trip, and you know, it was.
23?
It would have been 23 at the time, yeah.
Yeah. So you've decided to go to Europe. You finally booked it. What were you doing for work then?
I was and still am, a formwork carpenter.
Yeah.
In Adelaide.
So you're in Adelaide?
Yeah, that was
when in Vancouver.
No,
so you'd moved out of home.
Yeah, I'd been in Adelaide for probably must have been 2 years by this point, I would say.
Okay, so had you ever been overseas?
Never. No,
So
never.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So your first trip was to go to Tomorrowland, which is in...
That is in Boom, Belgium.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's like a big music festival.
One of the biggest in Europe, 200,000 people.
How long does it go for?
4 days.
Fuck. Jesus. All right. So you guys decide to go to Europe. How many of you is there on this trip?
So there's 3 on this trip. Yeah,
Is that including you?
That's including me.
Okay,
Yep.
so 2 other boys.
2 others. Yep.
Close mates.
Close mates. Yeah, sort of grew up with them.
Yeah.
So we just decided to plan this trip around Tomorrowland.
Yep.
That was the sort of the one that stood out the most that we wanted to go to. So we booked it like a trip.
Yeah. So running with the Bulls as well.
Running with the Bulls was the first major event.
So you running with the Bulls and Tomorrowland, but the whole thing is kind of centered around Tomorrowland.
It is, yeah.
Anything else?
Croatia Yacht Week was in there as well in that first trip.
So you've knocked off like the 3 pretty big ones on a lot of people's bucket list. Is your first maiden voyage outside of Australia?
Yeah, but I only achieved one of them on that trip.
Really?
One of the 3, yeah.
Okay, that's going to be interesting. All right, so where'd you fly into? So you fly out of Adelaide, I assume?
We fly out of Adelaide.
Yeah.
Yep. Actually, the fly out of Adelaide the night of Phil Walsh's tragic passing. The Crows coach.
Oh, yeah.
So that was,
Stabbed by his son.
very big morning in Adelaide that morning.
Yeah.
And we're flying out of the country. I think we flew to Melbourne first, actually.
Yeah.
And then to, I don't even know now. It must have been Doha or somewhere.
Yeah,
and then into Barcelona.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Straight into Barcelona.
What's it like for a man who has never been out of Australia and you fly into a place that they speak Spanish? Had you done any research into Spanish, like speaking Spanish, or
Maybe hello, hola.
yeah? Okay.
Very weird feeling, like jumping in
Yeah.
a cab for the first time driving into
Were you super
into
nervous?
Barcelona. Yeah, I reckon I would have been.
Yeah.
Can't really recall it now, but
What year was this? Sorry, 2016.
15.
15. Okay.
15, yeah.
So you're 24.
I was 24, at that time, yeah.
So you get to Barcelona.
Get to Barcelona, yeah.
Because you're going to go running with the bulls.
Yeah, so we were going to spend a night or two in Barcelona.
Yep.
That obviously the three lads we were all fair larrikins, and first night we get roped into this pub crawl.
Yep.
And it all pretty mellow at first, but then obviously the night started to get quite interesting and large.
Yeah.
We had a 6 a.m. train.
Really?
The next morning.
Yeah.
I ended up getting lost from the tour group.
Oh, shit.
And back at some random hostel.
Oh, really? That's all right.
And then my mates somehow found out I was there, and they've come into this small hostel room at 5 a.m. And there's 6 other people sleeping in this room, and they've watched me be dragged out of bed by my mates are quite big blokes, dragged out of bed and pulled out of this hostel room. I just remember this little Asian bloke poking his head up over the bunk bed, thinking he's witnessing a kidnapping. And then on this train, still wasted from the night before on this train to I can't remember now, but
Bilbao or.
Yeah, somewhere around there, yeah, somewhere around there, and then on to Pamplona from there for the bull run the bull run festival, and that in itself was the opening ceremony is
it's
just
crazy, isn't it?
Nuts.
Yeah, it's probably different from I did it in 2000 and I did it in 2015. I just remembered.
Oh really?
Yeah,
you're probably there at the same time I was then.
Yeah, I guess so.
Well, it only goes for a week.
Yeah, and I went to the opening ceremony as well.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, you would have been.
43 degrees or whatever it was on the first day.
Yeah.
It's fucking... Went to leave. Where did you stay?
In a campsite maybe an hour away.
So did we.
With a big lake.
Oh, we didn't have a big lake.
No.
We had it was quite interesting actually. You get to the front. When we first rocked up at this place, it was the Fanatics, something else and something else and something else. You know, there's tour companies.
Yeah.
And we rock up there, and there's an Aussie bird who is writing down the names of the arrivals, and she's like, "Hang on," and we're just like, "Hello there, we're here to book in for our tent, whatever it was, campsite," and she's like, "Yeah, you cunts just go up there," and we're like, "All right," it's very professional, but she was hot as fuck, so it didn't matter. Yeah, so we stayed up in the fucking just a tiered campsite, and it seemed to be down the bottom was the Fanatics or whatever it was. The next one was the next group. The next one was the next group, and then we left at 5 a.m. to go to the ceremony and stuff. We must have been close to each other, I assume.
Well, I can remember that first day getting into Pamplona, and we were obviously really hungover from that night before, and we've waited about an hour in the taxi line to get in this taxi.
Yep.
And I'll go ahead and jump in the front. My 2 mates get in the back, and we're not even out of the car park yet, and one of the boys leans over and drops the biggest fart, like the one off Step Brothers.
Yeah.
And
just keeps going.
This taxi driver just hits the skids.
Really?
Turns around and gives my mate the biggest blasting in Spanish. I'm in the front just wetting myself laughing. I trying to look out the window, and it just made the trip to where we were getting out.
Yeah.
So awkward, but I'll never forget that. Just one of the first experiences is you just getting blasted in Spanish. And when we get to where we're going, he gets out and he throws the bag at my mate and gives him another spray. And
that's so funny.
That's
the shit that resonates with you forever, though. You can be sitting down, quiet night, and you'll be like, "Remember the time you did this?" And then you just burst into laughter, type thing. That's that. I think that's one of the best things about traveling. You always got those little stories that just come out.
It'll go, that one still gets told quite a fair bit actually, because that was quite funny.
So you're at the campsite. You're still obviously knackered from the day before. They're in tents as well.
No, we had a 30-man dorm.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that was with about 8 chronic snorers.
Yeah.
And the smell that came out of that room after a couple of days in the middle of a European summer, you could imagine. Yeah. Wasn't great.
I had my own tent, but that was it was hot as fuck during the day when you try and take a nap because you always had big days. and then at night it was freezing.
Yeah.
Like, this sucks. Like, if I went back again, I would definitely book very, very far in advance and stay somewhere closer to the city as well. Like, we are knackered and we're getting up at 5 a.m. to pretty much fucking go and die.
Yeah, they come in bashing saucepans and
shit like that.
Wake you up. Yeah.
One of the funniest things that happened though was, I think it was, I can't remember what night it was, but there was obviously all the tents are next to each other, and young people, a couple are banging, and it's real quiet and it's at night and people are banging away, and it goes like, you can hear the tent rustling and a couple of moans and stuff. So like 30 seconds, and then you hear the girl go, I think it's an Aussie bird again. It's like, what? Is that it? And then the guy just like, fuck it. It never happens. And then there's a silence again, and you hear someone from ages away being like, do you need a hand? And then about like 50 tents erupt in laughter because everyone's just listening to this conversation. It was just so fun. Like that type of shit. Like with my mates now, you could just be like, do you need a hand? And everyone just brought straight back to that moment of just the funniest fucking thing, like your fart or your mate's fart type of thing. So you did running with the bulls? You actually did the run?
No, I didn't run because we, unfortunately, we'd had a couple of real big nights on the sauce. Yeah. By this stage, like 3 or 4 days, and I think it was the last morning. We went and sort of watched one of the mornings. Probably shouldn't have done that. I reckon would have been best to just straight in and do it. So we've gone to watch, and then the next morning going to run, and I was very, very hungover, and the tour guide says this isn't a game. If you're not in the right headspace, probably don't do it. Yeah. And I didn't, and I kicked myself for 12 months over it. So I made sure when I went back to Europe the following year that I did it. Yeah. And I did do it. So I'm glad it's done. Okay, yeah. Something I probably wouldn't do again.
I'm the exact same as you. There's 10% of me that is glad that I did it because the two other people that I went with, James and Maggie, and Maggie's, I think I've said this on the podcast before, but Mags is like tiny, probably like 5'3" or something like that. And the main thing is just you get bowled over, and then people are terrified and they just step on you. Yeah. So it was just like, so, and he's they're married now, James and Maggie, and James, just, sat out with her type thing. So it was fair enough. But like if I had a partner, I'd be like, I don't want you to do this. Please don't do this. These days, obviously, you can't tell people not to do fucking anything because it's a crime, but I would be like, you're going to get hurt. Please don't, And like looking back now that I did it, I'm like, nothing was gained from this. Like I can tell people I did running with the bulls, but I'm still like, fuck. I saw people get fucked up. Yeah, I did it on the first day, I think. I'm pretty sure. So the first day, so we did ceremony and then whatever it was, and then we did it. And then I saw people get thrown up in the air by the bulls and came around the corner. There was a guy on the ground with a big pool of blood just slowly seeping out of him, like in a movie, and they're like erecting this big white sheet around him so the bulls would like go around him. Apparently, I think it's a wall or some shit. That was fucking. It was terrifying.
Yeah, it's terrifying. That first 15 minutes when you get let in at 7:45, and then they shut the gates, and you're just huddled. You're in there. You can't get out of that. I remember I bumped into a bloke from Mount Gambier of all places, would you believe it, about 2 minutes before the cannon went off. I couldn't even speak. Palms were dry. Legs were shaking. And then that cannon goes to let you know the bulls have been let out.
Yeah. The first one goes, is it a firework or something? And it's like, just say the first one's out and then the second one's to tell you the last one's been done. Did you make it to the arena?
Yeah, we did. So we started past Dead Man's Corner. That was advised to do for obvious reasons.
I wasn't paying attention, and I stood at Dead Man's Corner, and this Spanish guy came up to me, and he was just started speaking in Spanish, and he was like doing a mock like as a bull, and then it's skidding and crushing people. I was like, oh yeah, that's literally what they told us 3 minutes ago. I just thought there was no one standing there, so this is a good spot because I'm a fuckwit. And then I walked up around the corner, but
90-degree bend.
Yeah. And I had a good spot. I was ready to go, and I'm like, oh, sweet. I'm kind of like near a door arch, and then all of a sudden it opened, and the guy was like, get out of the fucking way, mate. Like, this is my spot. It's my house. So I moved down, and then Yeah, it was terrifying. It was absolutely fucking terrifying. Is it hard to explain?
It is. I don't think it's, unless you've done it, the adrenaline and I don't reckon I can compare that feeling to anything else I've done. Like, that is just pure. You can see the fear in people's faces.
You've done skydiving and stuff before, haven't you?
Yeah, I've done skydiving, but I don't. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just different when you
just see these massive animals just.
And you're stuck in a street that's.
It's one way, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's probably 6 meters wide, 8 meters. It's not very wide.
It's. No one tells you that. No one tells you that you're going to be standing in this tiny street. I thought it was way bigger, and I would be able to hide behind a car. It's like cars aren't even on this fucking road because it's too small.
Yeah, tiny.
All right, so the first year you didn't do running with the balls. No one did running with the balls the first year out of your immediate guys.
No, the other two run.
Oh, really?
They both run. Yep.
Okay.
One donning the Port Adelaide prison bar Guernsey. Actually,
Really?
yeah.
Very contentious.
He run in that. Yeah. But yeah, so I didn't do it, and like I said, for 12 months, I was like, oh. So.
Yeah. I mean, it's one of those ones where it's cool to say you've done it, and I think it's going to be interesting to see how long it goes for. And I know it's gone for like over 100 years, but Spain has got with the times, and a lot of other places like Madrid, and I don't know how many are in Barcelona or anything like that, but there's not, like, Pamplona is one of the few now.
Yeah, it'll be scrap. It'll scrap soon enough.
Yeah, so we'll be actually one of the people will be able to be like, well, people will turn around and be like, you're fucking monsters, because that's what people do now. But it's pretty cool to be able to, like, even experience that ceremony was pretty crazy, and how much the town loves it.
Yeah.
You know, it's not unfortunately it's overrun with like a lot of tourists and a lot of fuckwits and stuff. But you see the actual people who live there, or just faces light up, and that celebration and stuff, and like hugging and squirting sangria and shit all over each other on that day. Like, it's pretty fun.
Right, she goes off like a fish milkshake there, mate, during that week.
Yeah.
Mad.
But it's probably gonna stop someday. You know, probably in our lifetime too.
Yeah, next couple of years, I reckon.
Yeah.
Even when I was there in the following year, I can remember animal activists being there and China, and I reckon it had changed in those 2 years. Years I went there because one of the bulls was on a rope, so it could only get out so far. It couldn't get near people, and I do remember it changing in that 12 months.
I got a question to ask you about this, and this is when I've been at like my absolute worst as a human. When you went into the arena, right? I didn't make it into the arena, so I went the next day and sat in the stands. When you're sitting in the stands and you're watching the bulls run around, like the young steers or whatever they are, did you go from like, oh my God, that guy's about to get hit, to fuck him up? You know what I mean? Like, you go from, or I did anyway, from, oh my God, these people are about to get seriously hurt, to like, just barracking for the ball to get
Yeah.
How weird is that?
People torment, because it's only the little baby ones with the corks on their horns, and
little steers.
people almost torment them, I reckon. Yeah.
And then they just still, they still fucking. I saw probably like 4 or 5 people get knocked out, just take their legs taken out, and then they get flipped on their head, and then just KO'd. We would have seen some people never would have walked away from that the same. No. Realistically, like they were like. Some people could even have PTSD, you know, like, it's how fucking dumb I am. I'm just But that was one, it's pretty awesome that I got to do that. And obviously yourself the second year, but it's something I look back on. I'm like, that was dumb. I didn't even tell my mum and stuff that I was going to do it, because I thought she would just be worrying the whole time. Did you tell?
I know, I did not tell my mother. No,
Yes.
She didn't find out till afterwards.
Okay. What did she say?
I would have got shot if I had told her.
Should have flown over and picked you
She
up.
still panicked, but I think my brother knew.
Yeah.
And I remember with the time difference, he sort of knew what time it roughly was back home, and he's thinking, oh, I'll get over here from him soon. Like,
yeah.
But, I didn't tell mum till afterwards. It's like, don't panic, but I've just done this.
Yeah.
It's done. I'll never have to do it again. Ticked off the bucket list.
Yeah, I pretty much did the exact same thing, and my mum sent an email like, "You're an adrenaline junkie, aren't you?" Not really. Going back to that thing of like not telling people about stuff, you've got a pretty crazy story about you in a boat that I just want to chat about. So, ladies and gentlemen, too, the idea of this podcast is this is going to be like Todd's Tales, or this episode with Todd, because he's actually done a shitload of stuff. So we're going to do multiple episodes. So if we don't get through some stuff today, there's going to be more of Todd in the future. So if you like him, you can listen to him again. If you don't, well, fucking don't. All right? Now, Todd, if you want to talk about the story about you in Mount Gambier in the boat with your mates, which is horrifying, and this one of the scariest things that I have ever heard. This is literally my worst nightmare.
Yeah, absolutely. And I still to this day have quite a fear of the ocean. To go out in I haven't done it. I haven't been out in a boat, fishing boat, I should say, in the ocean since. And it's the best advice I give now. I always say, if you're going somewhere or going to do something where there is higher dangers than normal day life, tell somebody where you're going or what you're doing, because I didn't do it this one particular day and it nearly cost me my life. So
how old were you then? What year was this?
I would have been 18 or 19.
Yeah.
And me and two mates I had a mate who had just bought a boat, a little 4.5 metre fiberglass, little
tinny or something.
Little tinny, and he didn't have much experience fishing. Crayfishing, sorry.
Yeah.
Obviously down in Mount Gambier way, crayfishing's quite popular.
Yeah.
So we go out this one night, and my parents were actually away in Cairns on their 20-year wedding anniversary. So I must have been 19 because I'm a year younger than how long they've been married.
Yeah.
And we get down there. We get down there, and it looked rough. I remember thinking that doesn't look, like you should be going out in it.
Yep.
But took my mate's word for it. So we go out, 18, 19 years old, invincible, no life jackets, none of the right equipment, no flares, whatever. And we get to his pot, and his pot's snagged, so he tries to pull it out using the boat.
Okay.
He's got the arse end of the boat facing the direction the waves are coming, which is a massive no-no. If you're going to tie something to a boat, you put the front end so that it rides up.
I suppose it's designed to do that. Yeah.
And just out of nowhere, freak wave fills the boat up with water. Out of nowhere, this wave came. Threw me and one mate out. We've gone out because the boat's sort of shaken. So we've got thrown out. And then within the space of 5 seconds, another one. And all my mate managed to be able to do was reach for the car keys. And then the second one's just completely flipped the boat, thrown him out.
So you had to jump?
No, we got thrown out.
Okay.
Me and the first bloke. And then the other blokes come out on the second wave.
Okay.
Obviously, the boat's flipped over. It's tied to the pot still, so it's we can't flip it back over. We got nothing to cut the rope with. We've got no life jackets.
Nothing. What time is it?
It's probably. This was near Christmas, I think. So it must have been 6:30. It was daylight when we fell out. Anyway.
Yeah.
And we argued. I reckon I called me mate everything under the sun. That.
Yeah.
There and then I was like, you bastard, you've made me come out here. I didn't want to come in the first place. Thought it looked too rough. I took your word for it. Now I'm fucking in 3.5 Ks out in the ocean. And
3.5 Ks?
3.5 Ks, I think it was. And point of the story going back to is they wanted to wait with the boat.
Yep.
They said, we'll wait with the boat. Someone will come out. And I said, look, if I'm going to die, I'm going to die trying. I'm not waiting because of the 7 billion humans on planet Earth, there was not one single person we told that we were there. So, if they say when you go fishing, you always tell someone what time you'll be back. If you haven't been heard from by then, maybe send out a search party. But so no one knew we were there. So we've took off swimming. All that came up was one of those, those blue rainwater drums.
Yeah.
So one of them. So we took turns in paddling with that. Took probably 3 hours to get back in.
Is it dark?
It was when we got back in. Yeah, we just swam for this. We could see a house on the point.
Yeah,
we just swam for the light.
Couldn't see a soul. No,
we could see when we got a bit closer. We could see the bloke on the balcony, and we could see he was looking out towards the ocean. And actually, when we got back in and we went to his house for help, he straight away knew he was looking and he thought he could see something, but he thought, no way anyone's stupid enough to be out there. He thought it was the cray pot boys, our heads. So they give us a hot shower and race us to hospital. And
well, that's the issue. If you get water in your lungs, you can drown
monitored.
it.
Yeah, we were monitored overnight because if you can still drown up to 72 hours later if you swallow because you've swallowed so much water. So, but very lucky that afternoon. I remember not being able to sleep for a few nights. I just felt like I was still in the
water.
In the water, yeah.
Folks, they're in Cairns.
They're in Cairns on their 20-year wedding anniversary, and all of Mount Gambier knows. And I remember one of Dad's mates ringing and saying, "You're gonna have to ring him and tell him because if he finds out from somebody else, So I had to ring up Mum and look, Mum, I'm all good, but this has happened. Well, they panicked, and I think they were on the first flight back to South Australia. But and Dad, being a fisherman his whole life, was wild at me because why didn't you never come out with me when I ask, and you go out with this bloke who doesn't know shit from shoe polish when it comes to fishing. That
is terrifying.
Always tell somebody where you're going because
besides if you're doing running with the bulls.
Yeah, besides if you're running with the bulls.
Just die. That kind of like we finished running with the bulls, me and another guy that I met type thing, and I said Maggie and James sat out, but we didn't have phones. The phones were back at the campsite because we couldn't use them anywhere. Such a small place, like nowhere really had Wi-Fi. So I went out and did the bull run at 6 a.m. or whatever the fuck it was. Then I didn't see Maggie and James until 5 p.m.
Yeah, you can't find anyone.
And they walked past a pub, and I was at the front pissed. Because we've been drinking since like 11 or whatever it was. And they were like, you're not dead. Like, it was horrifying. I remember Maggie saying, like, I really thought I was going to have to ring your mum and be like, we did running with the bulls in Spain and he didn't make it. And I just looking back now, I just didn't even think of it. I was like, oh yeah, there's other people here that are worrying about me. But I was like, well, I survived up to the pub, as you do when you're traveling.
I can remember the first year doing it, my mates were told to run with their passports because if something happened, you were identifiable.
Yeah.
And I remember somebody writing something on their arm in Spanish or a number to call if they were found.
Yeah.
And then I remember sitting in the stands like looking when I spotted the prison bar jersey running. I'm like, he's all good. Like,
yeah. Well, I suppose you in that case, you were the one that was the first time anyway, sitting there being like, come boys, just get through it.
Trying to spot them in the stadium, Yeah,
it's good wearing the Guernsey though. You kind of could be able to tell who it is. All right, so you don't do you finished up with Pamplona. Did anything else interesting happen? No farts in the taxis. No.
No. Yeah. So what we do, I don't know, probably 3 or 4 nights in Pamplona.
Yep.
Geez, this is testing the memory now. We're going to go back 6 years.
The podcast does that, yeah.
And then we flew to Split, Croatia, for Croatia Yacht Week, which turned out to be one of the best weeks of my life. Got a lot of friends still. Shout out to all those legends that I, Melbourne, Perth, I still see to this day. Like, very good bunch of people, 38 of us on this boat.
Oh, really? That's a big one, isn't it? 38, isn't it? Like usually like 15 to 25.
Depends which one you do, I think. But we did the A grade, the A plus one type thing, 5 islands, 7 nights, and that's just your typical sail through the day, stop at an island, get on the piss. The first couple of days that are quite blurry. I remember me and my mate, we'd got about halfway to so you go in a room with a person and you have a bar tab.
Yep.
And they had a bar. The record bar tab's obviously posted up above the bar,
because they want you to beat it. Yeah, it's smart.
And me and my mate were halfway to that target after 2 days.
Oh.
And the bartender sort of pulled us aside and had a bit of a word to us. Blah 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 blah. And he informed us on the second day we drank 42 Blue Lagoons, the cocktail. I got up the third day, man. And it's probably still to this day, and anybody that was there when that happened that probably the biggest hangover or the worst hangover I've ever had. Like, I'm on a boat. I've got my teeth and tongue's all blue. Look like had a head on me like a robber's dog, mate. And I didn't drink for 3 days after that. Best part of 3 days, I was just that crook, We ended up falling $50 short of the tab, which would have got easily blown out the water had I had a bit of a crack day 3, 4, and 5. But
you died.
Yeah, sadly, we just missed out.
How much money do you reckon it would have been?
Oh, I can't remember now what it was. It was quite cheap. I think it was like $4 beers, but we were drinking cider.
Week, did you say? Sorry,
it's a week.
Yeah,
I could probably remember that it was Hvar the first night, Korčula the second night, 2 nights in Dubrovnik, Tristanik, Makarska, then back to Split. Yeah.
Okay. Oh,
yeah,
that's good memory there.
Yeah. That's not bad.
You didn't say anything to me. I wouldn't fucking know.
You wouldn't have a clue.
All right. So you had the week. Can I just ask, how much do you reckon you would have went over to Europe with? How long was your actual trip? I should ask.
They were all
Maybe
about.
said that.
Oh, I think the first one was 5, and then the next 2 were probably 6.
So 5 weeks or
5 weeks? Yeah.
5 weeks. Okay. How much do you reckon you spent in that 5-week trip?
Well, I reckon the first Europe trip was about 15K.
It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, the second one was more. Doing
stuff. I mean, you're staying on a boat. It's not cheap. Going all accommodation, everything you're doing too is expensive, simply because they know they're going to get their money's worth from either drinks or this or that accommodation. So you're always going to pay the most expensive amount possible doing big things as you were doing.
Yeah, exactly. And there's no award for the richest man in the cemetery. So
yeah,
if you're over there, you might as well might as well have fun.
And it costs a lot of money and takes a lot of time to get over there. So you might as well live it up.
Yeah,
because it's it's going to cost you another $2,000 to set foot in Europe. So. And how many hours flight is it? It's fucking 18 or something.
Yeah, the best part of a day. Yeah.
So you really need to just maximise your.
And I mean, probably that first trip too, we thought would never have to go back. But obviously with missing running of the bulls, and then obviously Tomorrowland coming up after the Yacht Week and the saga that went on there, we were forced to go back the following year.
Just to go back to Yacht Week though, so. I've never done it. I've heard a lot of people. We've got mates who have done it. You've done it yourself. Can you just walk us through what the actual Sail Croatia is?
Yeah, so there's a lot of those tour companies do it, and there's boat. All you can see in the Adriatic Sea is just yachts. It's fully yachts. People doing there's a lot of different ones you can do, but we just had to meet at a certain point in Split on a certain day, and 38 of us on this boat, 34 Aussies, I think. One American legend, shout out to Terry, and 3 Canadians.
Yeah.
And you just get on, and I feel like a week is long enough to sort of get to know people.
Yep.
So you just become like family with these people, you sort of just sail during the day, you stop for a few swim stops, and then it's just every night, different island. They take you on a pub crawl. That's pretty much that for seven straight days, really.
Yeah.
You don't. There's not much sightseeing that goes on.
You'd want to like a drink if you did it.
Yeah, you would. Yeah.
I
can't see someone that doesn't like having a frothy go on one of those sort of things.
Yeah.
And I think you can only do it till you're 35 anyway.
Yeah, I thought I heard that. Geez, that's something I would like to do, but at the same time, I don't know if I could keep up these days.
Well, yeah, now that we're over the hill at 30, but...
31 in a couple of months.
Because I remember thinking on that trip, I was old, but 24, but...
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I'll be doing it. I'd rather just be super rich and have a yacht, which is even less likely to going on to Sail Croatia. So you did the week. Actually, were we through that? I started... So that week finished.
Yep. And then it was to Paris. We had a few nights in Paris. Nothing overly
exciting
big happened there. You just see the Eiffel Tower.
Is that the year of the terrorist attacks?
No, that was the following year.
Okay.
That was 2016.
Yeah.
Couple of nights in Paris, and then into Belgium. This is...
Here we go. This is the trip. This is why the boys came from fucking
this
Sleepy
is a dream.
Mount Gambier, Adelaide.
Actually, for my 21st, I'd asked for money to be put into an account.
Yep.
You know, they don't want presents money for a trip to Tomorrowland. Obviously, a few years pass. Obviously, moving to the city. Adelaide, I couldn't do it that year. You know, blah, 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 blah. So we finally get there about 3 years later. You know, I remember being in a bus, like looking out the window. You see the big rainbow at the campsite. Welcome to Dreamville. And, you know, me and my mate, like, you know, it's amazing when you look at something on a screen for so long and then you're actually there in person.
Yeah.
One of the best parts of traveling, I think, actually.
Yeah.
Get to Tomorrowland. We are on a high, man. Like, you know, we've got into Dreamville. We've set up campsite. There's just people going nuts everywhere, like people from all over the world, and have a good night at Dreamville the first night. So the night before the actual festival starts is just a huge party. Like I think Afrojack played in the campsite.
Really?
Like it's just
so Dreamville is the campsite?
That's where you can camp. Yeah.
Okay.
About 150,000 people camping there.
Jesus.
Yeah, it's huge, man.
Yeah.
We've got like big coloured poles all over the campsite, so you can be like, well, I'm near the yellow one. So when you get in there, you spot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You sleep in tents?
Yeah, we're in tents. Yeah, we picked up there, and then the next morning go to get into the festival, and there's obviously a bit of a hold up as we trying to get scanned through, and the lady's like, "Oh, where did you get these tickets?" Via GoGo because we missed out on the official website.
Oh, okay, third party.
Yep, and she tells us they're fake. You've all got the same ticket. You can't get in. Like, you know, we're like, sure, no, you're joking. Like, blah 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 blah.
We came from Australia.
Tried bribing them with money because you get a wristwatch, obviously, and you load it. That's your food. That's your drink. So you tap this watch on everything.
So go through the watch again. Sorry.
So you get it with your ticket. You'll get given a watch,
okay,
a little wristwatch, and you load it with money at the stalls around Tomorrowland.
Yeah. And
anything you buy, you just tap your watch on the little screen as you buy it, and it'll show you your balance, and that's really? Your money. Yeah. So cool. It's to prevent lines being long, and
that's such a European great industrial. You know, in Australia it'd be like you lined up for 7 hours. Yeah. We got tokens, but that you had a watch.
Yeah, and obviously we couldn't get them because we didn't have our tickets weren't real. So we spent the whole first day trying to get in and try and jump the fence. But obviously you get scanned in and out of the festival. So if we were to jump the fence and then walk out, they'd be like, "Where's your watch?" Yeah,
okay.
So it was a disaster. It ruined the trip. It really, I did. It ruined the trip. Me and one mate contemplated just going home. We're like, well, that's. How long you can't come back from this. Tomorrowland was 4 days, and then we had another 4 or 5 days after that. Still, must have been close to 2 weeks to go.
In Belgium, was it Belgium? Sorry,
we're in Belgium. Yeah, then I think we had Amsterdam booked for after that.
Yeah,
but we just sat at this tennis club, just about in tears, and then this young Belgian bloke, I think he felt that sorry for us that he offered us a ride back into Brussels.
Yep.
And we got dropped off there, and then we sort of didn't really have a game plan, and ended up reaching out to a mate, an Australian mate whose missus was living in Utrecht in Holland at the time.
Yeah.
And she invited us round there, and we sort of we went there and stayed for an extra 4 days, the 4 days that we were meant to be at Tomorrowland.
Yeah.
They were very good. It was about a house full of Dutchies, 8 of them, which lifted our spirits. That was good. A few nights in Utrecht, which is a uni town.
Yeah.
And then a few nights in Amsterdam, and after that she was all over.
Jeez. So Tomorrowland was the main trip.
Yeah.
But you didn't get to do it because of fake tickets.
I stood at the entrance like a dickhead.
Yeah.
And it was funny, when I got back to Adelaide, I went down to General Pants to get a shirt or whatever, and I was standing there chatting to one of the birds working there, and she says, "Oh, I don't know, whatever, how you been or whatever." And I was, "Oh, I just got back from Europe." She's like, "Yeah, I went to Europe too. I went to Tomorrowland and blah, 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 blah." And no shit, she says, "Oh, I heard over there about these 3 boys from Adelaide that had fake tickets."
Oh, no.
Because we were telling everyone the story over there.
Yeah.
And people felt so sorry for us, especially being Australian. They know how far you've come. And I looked at her, I said, "Do you know who that was? Fucking me." I was that guy standing at the entrance. She couldn't believe it. Yeah.
Fuck, that is crazy. How much were tickets? How much did
I think we paid about $1,000 that year. But and then when we left, I said to my mate, I said, "Mate, look me in the eye and promise me we'll be back next year." And we worked our asses off for 12 months to make that second trip happen.
Yeah.
and had another 2 blokes jump on board for that trip.
Yeah.
And then that trip, I mean, blessing in disguise, really, like the things we were able to do on that second trip, the people we met. I mean, at the time, I would never have thought that it would have panned out that way, but it did. Yeah, that second trip really made it not seem so bad in the end, because we got to go, and I run with the Bulls the following year. And,
well, that's pretty cool. I think we're going to end it there. The next episode we do, Todd, we can touch on the Europe trip, and then obviously we met in Canada. We'll jump from how you got from the second year going to Europe into Canada and stuff like that. So I think that's a good position to finish up on. We're 40 minutes in, so give the listeners a break. Thank you so much for coming on, Todd.
No dramas, mate. Thanks for having me. It was good fun.
You opened up. It was good. You were nervous. You were pacing around the house. Changed your clothes, which was weird, but it's fucking... We did it. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. We'll be back sometime in the near future for more Todd's Tales. Thanks, guys. See ya. Bye.